There was, I think that maybe Jimmy, you sent this today. A truck that was spotted at a charger. I think it was Electrify America, was it?
Mhm.
With drone footage. And I'm looking here, I'm trying to pull it up. It looks like it was Dominic, so we'll give him some credit as we kind of roll this on our replay on the YouTube version of this. But lots of drone footage, tried to get the underside, got caught.
Oh, he still got nabbed. That was great.
He got nailed, and he was nice. He played nice. He ceased and desisted getting footage of that. We do see a little bit, but then some nice drone shots. He said he was there for a while, but what'd you guys learn from that one?
Uh, Gear tunnel buttons. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. We hadn't really seen those. I mean, every time that I had seen Brian Gaze and some of the other people open the gear tunnels, they'd always reached around the underside of the bed rail and actuated it that way. But actually seeing buttons on the bed rails now on both sides, just after the door, if you look closely in the videos, um, those and then the underside. I mean, it's pretty standard what we saw in the concept vehicles, for the most part, I think, minus,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, actually, pretty much everything that we've seen in the underside of the truck, we're still seeing now, um, with this latest truck on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And with regards to the underbody, I mean, completely flat, very smooth, which can be a big deal, especially if you're in rocky off-road situations, because rocks like to get hung up on things. And so if you can slide over rocks, that's a big deal. The other thing that I noticed about the underbody, and I'm curious exactly what it is, but there were some holes in the bottom plate, and I'm not sure whether that's for nut or bolt access, which could potentially make sense, or whether it's for something else, some sort of other service access. But the fact that, even nuts and bolts were recessed down below that flat skid plate, more or less, shows that the thought was put into it.
Mhm. Skylar, did you notice, and I didn't catch it, and I need to go back and look at it, but what you had commented on, it feels like a year ago now, those cables or the wiring bundles that were hanging down, I didn't notice them this time, on the underside. I know there's like a quick glimpse that you get of what would be the left rear tire and the suspension system where it normally was hanging down, but I didn't catch it. Did you?
Yeah, so we've actually seen other pictures of, later production trucks where, those wires hanging down are gone, concealed, or at least, safely out of the way. And it's actually kind of funny. After I brought that up initially, then Emmy Hall did some interviews after the Rebel rally, and she brought that up in one of those interviews as well as something that she had pointed out and Rivian said would be fixed in the production vehicles. And there's one more thing that I thought was interesting about the charging drone underbody video, and it's that he said that the Rivian truck was there for 2 hours, and I'm just curious why. I mean, were they just hanging out watching, Netflix on the infotainment, or catching a movie, staying warm, or
I think it was a chicken standoff. You are not getting footage of us leaving. We will wait you out. We will totally smoke you out of here. I mean, because they know he has a drone, and get some sweet footage following that R1T off into the sunset with the drone. But who knows? Could have been something else too. I mean, that's a good thing to go on to a segue to another topic. I think we have on here is 800 volt charging. Who put that one on there, and what do you got there as far as charge speed and all that?
So I put that one on there,
Mm-hmm.
and there, once again, I wish Rivian would just tell us what's going on. There's so much speculation out there about charging speeds and what you can achieve with a 400 volt architecture versus what you can get with an 800 volt architecture. We do know that Rivian filed a patent for switching from 400 to 800 volt, which could be charging specific. And, is that only on the Max Pack? Is that on any Rivian? What are the actual charging speeds? What can we expect to see out of Rivian's chargers, Electrify America chargers? And, I'll even take it a step further in that, Lucid and others are coming out with high voltage architectures for their entire drivetrain, motors, everything else. And RJ had previously stated that, Rivian was thinking of that now, although, the first vehicles will be 400 volt, but I'm wondering if the components have progressed to the point on an 800 volt architecture, whether that's something we might see in these first vehicles. And the one thing that really makes me wonder about that is that we know that Rivian has increased the horsepower and torque numbers for the production vehicles versus what they had claimed before. And is it different motors? I would think so, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're 800 volt motors. But it's a possibility.
I mean, if Lucid is coming out with their, I think they call it the Wunderbox, and they're able to do, like you were saying, I mean, instantly switch over, it would be sweet to see Rivian be able to do something like that, especially with the timeline being so similar. It'd be a shame if they. I think it would be a shame if they didn't do something like that with the R1T and R1S out the gate.
Yeah, and one difference there is most of Lucid's technology was actually built in-house. And we know just from previous comments from RJ is sourcing components from third-party suppliers. And that's what he originally attributed the decision to go 400 volt to. So maybe now those same suppliers do have 800 volt components available, and if so, we might see them in the vehicles.
Right.
Hey folks, thanks for watching. If you get a chance, please check us out at rivianstories.com, and every like, subscribe, and share helps. Thanks again.